Hey everyone, Tankenstein here. In this video, I'll be doing something a little bit different. I don't know if you guys noticed, but I've been publishing surveys over the last few weeks pertaining to the Battle for Arachis crafting event that War Thunder just had and had just ended, at least insofar as grinding for new materials is concerned. As said, I've been asking the community for their thoughts on the event and if they felt that it was a good event or if they wanted it to be replaced, along with several other questions. Thankfully, because of you, my viewers, I was able to reach tens of thousands of players, so I have tons of responses and data that I can pull from to let you all know how the community really feels about the recent crafting event. I'll be going over all of that and then briefly give my opinion at the very end of this video, giving my perspective on the whole affair, being that I've been around for many of these events and can compare and contrast with previous events. That said, please subscribe and hit that notification bell, especially if you like totally rad content like this video. Either way, let's get into it. I've got 7 polls that I ran to pull from, so I'll start with the first one that is directly related to the crafting event. The question is, pretty plainly, are you taking part in the Battle for Arachis crafting event? With a fairly large turnout of thus far 13,000 votes. A huge amount of people, about 58%, said that they are just letting their rewards expire, telling me that they're just playing as normal and are treating the event like it's running in the background. I personally think that a large portion of these people are console players that don't have access to the marketplace and as such have no choice but to let rewards expire, at least if they're not grinding fairly hard for at least one of the rewards. I should have split that into 2 separate responses, with one being for PC players to respond with the other being for console players, as the latter basically only has the ability to grind hard or let the rewards die. Interestingly, of the remaining 42% that did say that they are participating, only 27% said that they're keeping their rewards and are grinding for a vehicle themselves. About 15% said that they are selling their rewards on the marketplace, possibly because they aren't planning on playing more than they normally do, and they just want to see some sort of benefit by earning GJN, or because they're looking to buy something else and are using this event to grind extra hard so that they can purchase a pack vehicle or marketplace vehicle that they've had their eyes on for some time. I wish I could have elaborated a little bit more, but unfortunately, YouTube has fairly major restrictions on how many questions I can ask in a single poll, or better said, how many answers I can provide in a single poll, with a maximum being 5. And how long the answers can be, with a maximum length of 65 characters. In all, however, it seems that most people, whether they wanted to or not, simply chose not to participate in this crafting event, with a large portion of players deciding to not grind for one of the reward vehicles at all. For the second question, I asked how much people enjoyed the Battle for Arachis crafting event compared to previous crafting events. This saw fewer votes, though still a substantial total of around 7,000 responses, at least thus far. In short, a huge 72% of people said that this crafting event was worse than previous ones that they've experienced, or was simply worth less of their time. This is gigantic, as it could mean several things. First, as many people have expressed, especially over the last year or two, War Thunder is entering a phase of continuous events with no downtime, between crafting events, holidays, sales, battle pass, seasonal events, and more. And one would have to wonder if people just didn't care to participate in this crafting event, as they simply don't care anymore, or are burned out. If people are trying to grind X, Y, and Z tech tree already in the game, all while completing tasks for Battle Pass and having random holiday events playing in the background, they may have less inclination to participate in these crafting events. Now, I'm sure that Gaijin has statistics showing this year's participation compared to previous crafting events, but it would be interesting to see if this possible burnout is reflected in their stats. Otherwise, only around 11% of people felt that this recent crafting event was superior to previous ones, with the remaining 17% feeling that it was about as good as ones in the past. I'll get into how I feel about the recent crafting event at the end of this video again, but opinions like this might not bode well for Gaijin. The next question was, following the Battle for Arachis crafting event, which would you prefer? Is my attempt of asking if people would like more crafting events, the same amount, or fewer crafting events. In short, only about 1/5 of respondents want either currently 2 crafting events per year, or possibly more. Nearly everyone else wants fewer crafting events, with 68% of people who answered wanting no crafting events per year, with them being replaced entirely by other events. Clearly, people do not like crafting events, at least not in their current format. Following this question, I asked what type of event is your least favorite event. This might be skewed because the crafting event is fresh in everyone's minds, but it is very telling that 85% say that crafting events are their least favorite type of event, at least out of the options given. A fairly small 7% of people say that seasonal events are the bane of their existence, whereas only 9% in total dislike World War Mode or World War II Chronicles most of all, which is interesting seeing as we've had neither of those two events in the last few years. Now beyond this, and this one actually surprised me, I asked people to rate the most recent crafting event on a scale of 1 to 5 stars, with 1 star being the worst and 5 stars being the best. I honestly thought that over 50% of people would have said 1 star, at least based on their previous responses to my polls, but only 33%, said 1 star, with a very large percentage of 25% saying 2 stars, and 32% saying 3 stars. Unsurprisingly, however, only around 1 out of 10 people said that this event was a 4 or 5 star event. As said, it seems like many people are willing to say that the Battle for Arachis event was either halfway decent or at least not entirely terrible, though still fairly bad. Only 1/2 of all people thought that the Battle for Arachis event wasn't the worst thing in the world. For a community that is fairly reactionary, that's not too bad, right? Next up in my most recent question was, with the Battle for Arachis crafting event in War Thunder being over, what do you feel was the worst part or the best part of the event? Being that I just thought of it as I was writing the script for this video, I haven't had a ton of responses just yet, but I still feel that a good sample size to review and the results are keeping fairly steady. That said, I basically just wanted to figure out if people liked the grind/rewards or if they thought that they were bad. As you could tell, the community was not a huge fan of either. The vast majority of people took issue with the grind, with 77% saying that it was just too much in such a short period of time, with only 3%, or around 1/26 of the 77%, feeling the opposite. 5% thought that the rewards were the worst part, with 2% genuinely thinking that the rewards were the best part of the event. About 12% of people felt that the event was so-so or just did not participate. To me, this signals a desire from the community to extend the duration of these crafting events. I know that I personally have had a tremendous amount of difficulty in trying to complete the events for even one of the top rewards in the past, and this event was totally impossible for me. So I would imagine that others would have had the same problem. It's basically that you either sell your soul to Gaiden for 11 days or barely participate at all. If you don't participate, you will quite possibly miss out on some of the awesome rewards forever, especially if you're on console and don't have access to the marketplace. Now finally, I asked how many April chests people have opened. I know this is not entirely related to the crafting event, but it happened at the same time, so I figured I'd add it into this video. A surprisingly large 58% of people said that they purchased no chests, with almost all the rest of the 24,000 respondents saying that they purchased 50 chests at most. Only 6% of over 24,000 respondents purchased more than 50 chests, which I'm actually very surprised to see. Now this said though, time for my opinion. In short, though I'm not a big fan of how crafting events are run, as I feel they should just generally reward players a bit more substantially per match and should last longer in order to reduce the immense stress that people, especially collectors, feel from the fear of missing out on a special vehicle, I felt that this was a decent crafting event. Sure, it had its huge grind problems, which have been present with every crafting event, and to a lesser extent in the seasonal events, but this didn't feel all too bad, largely because you only needed credits and the super weapon tokens to advance in the crafting event, whereas previous crafting events would have you collect an assortment of different parts in order to progress. I felt that this event along with the rewards were a step forward, but not a big step, as the aforementioned grind issue has always been the biggest problem with crafting events. If they could extend it to around a 2-week threshold or even by a single day or two, it would be huge for players, and the player base I'm sure would greatly appreciate it. Going back to the rewards, I felt that the Kfir C2 and the T72 M2 Moderna were actually excellent all-around options, especially compared to what was given in the past, namely vehicles like the XM8 and F4F early, as both were a bit lackluster compared to the Battle for Arachis rewards, even considering the fact that those were 1 year ago and that the game was a bit less advanced to that point. Ultimately, however annoying they are and how they're presented, at least these events give the opportunity for free rewards and really cool rewards too. Plus, it was really cool how Gaijin allowed people to play the Children of Arachis April Fool's event and still get rewards for the crafting event. Again, I feel that this event was better than what we've seen in the past, but if Gaijin either gave more rewards per match, so more credits per match, / made them less variable, or extended the crafting event by at least a day or two, I feel that you would see a huge increase in favorability amongst the player base. Heck, even giving a better minimum tank or plane reward would be amazing. The Electo is cool and all, but that is way too much grinding for a single rank 1 tank that resembles a wagon with a cannon on it. Either way, that about ends this video. Please tell me what you guys thought about this video and the event in the comments below. I'm extremely interested to read what you guys think. As always, subscriptions are incredibly appreciated, so if you would please subscribe if you like this video, I will love you forever. Either way, thanks again everyone, and I'll see you all on the other side. Take care everyone.